Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here at my channel, we do fun recaps, reviews, and discussions of all of our favorite shows. So this video, we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is going to be season 4, episode 13, I believe. I believe the title of the episode was Wine and Grind. Before we get into anything else, click that thumbs up button, click that subscribe button, share, comment. Y'all know I love to read y'all's comments. I do apologize for this video not coming Saturday night like I like to do, like I like to see. However, I've been under the weather since Thursday, y'all, so I am now just getting back into the swing of things. Went to work today. Everybody's getting this bad flu going around, so y'all please be safe out there. Hopefully y'all don't catch it because it was all bad. But I did watch the episodes and I was with y'all in spirit. I was with y'all on Twitter, but excuse me, there was no way I was doing a review over the weekend. No way, okay? So I'm going to try to do, I'm doing Huntsville now. I'm going to do hopefully DC and P-Valley all today before the night ends is my goal, okay? Hopefully I get through that though, but I don't want to overexert myself. Like I said, I'm just barely getting back right. So anyway, let's just get into the review. So the episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville started with the boys going down to Atlanta. They say they got down to the mansion that Martell rented out for them. And excuse me, y'all, if I still sound congested because I still am somewhat congested. But anyway, I'm taking my meds. I'm good. So anywho, so they like, oh yeah, this is nice, Martell. You did it up with the mansion. Who answers the door? Monica. Monica came ready to film. She had on them colorful feathers, furs, whatever that was. She had on. Looked like a one piece with a split up the legs and a belt. It was cute on her. Okay, I don't know if I could wear it or pull it off, but it was very cute on Monica. Monica said, y'all not gonna catch her off guard no more on this Love and Marriage Huntsville streets, okay? So anyway, trying to make sure I don't got lipstick on my teeth. So anywho, so he's, she welcomes them in and they're like, hey, Monica. And then boys were asking Monica how long had they been friends. And she said, they've been friends for 30 years or something now. And I believe this is the part where Marcel was saying in the confessionals that, anyone who's, he commends their commitment that she stuck around as a friend for 30 years, that she's in the friend zone that long. Marcel was throwing a lot of shade in this episode, probably because he wasn't in any trouble. He'll probably be in trouble again next episode based on his behavior from this episode. So anyway, then we get to everyone calling home. So Louis called home to Tiffany, and Marcel called home to Tisha, and Maurice called home to Kimmy, and they try to sound like, oh yeah, we just got here, and yeah, we're just gonna have dinner, and oh yeah, we might go out tonight. Like, y'all need to stop playing. One thing about these men on this show, they are very handsome men, all of them. Very successful men, very smart men, but they are about the dumbest ninjas ever. They are the dumbest N-words ever. Like, the way they was talking and behaving, like, y'all is a mess, but you know how they say boys will be boys and all that. I'm like, I guess. So anyway, the men get all dressed and they come down and it's all ladies in the room. Look like it was a good group of women in that room. Was it about 20 women or so? I don't know. So anyway, Martell says in his confessional that he didn't tell the men that he only had women at this party in the mansion for the wine tasting, and he just, he want to kind of see how they're going to do as married men around all these beautiful women. So Martell trying to set the boys up for a fail, basically. He trying to set them up for the okie doke, okay? He did it on purpose. My thing is, Monica, why would you arrange this if you were getting on Martell about the picture from the previous Atlanta trip and you don't want none of that drama to mess up this whole wine thing, because that's what you're doing right now while I bring all these women here. So to me, Monica, perpetuating this thing that you didn't want to happen, you're making it happen. So anyway, the men look a little nervous to see the women there. The men got, they cleaned up nice. Louis was in his big pink suit. Okay, go ahead, Lou. So anyway, they all get to making plates and stuff. They say, they gonna be good. They gonna be on their best behavior. They married. They don't need to be told how to act when they married, right? So anyway, then Marcel says something about, hey fellas, let's let the ladies, get in the kitchen and start making their plate. I thought he said making their plates at first, but then I think he said, like, let's let them start making plates. So then one of the women was like, what? Like, what you say? And so then he was like, oh, sorry. Like, usually at home, my wife makes my plate for me and all this stuff. And so then somebody in the confession, I don't know if it's Martel or Maurice, said they don't think Tisha would appreciate Marcel, letting another woman make his plate. And of course the women were like, what are you talking about, making plates and all that? Marcel's one of those guys that's going to say all them little chauvinistic remarks and hot mess stuff to get people riled up. That's just what he does, okay? Marcel likes to get the pot stirring, okay? So then, the ladies everybody sits down around a table and they're eating and they're tasting the wine. The table don't look big enough for all them people there, and it wasn't, okay? So they tasted the wine. Everybody said the wine is a very good mixture of dry and sweet wine, I believe. And so people really, really liked that. Y'all hold on, because my nose feels like it's running. I'm going to have to edit all that out. So anyway, so this one girl says, Marcel said he's not a sommelier, but it seems like it's a pretty good wine to him. Maurice done drunk his whole glass, so he said he like it. Okay. One of the ladies said that it has good legs on it. She seemed to be more of a wine connoisseur. The women would say he should put pink on the bottle. And so then Melnika was saying, let's have a wine tank. Like, let's do kind of like a Shark Tank, that show, but let's have all the men try to sell the wine. And everybody except for Martel. So I believe Marcel went first. And then, no, I think Maurice went first, right? Anyway, all of them had, like, interesting things to say. Maurice is like, picture yourself with that person you want to be with and where you want to be at. Now, you're missing that one thing, and the wine will help you cross that bridge. And Marcel is like, you come home from work, and you need a nice glass of wine, and do this and do that. Like, his was really nice, too. And then Louis, he was straightforward. He's like, why save it for the weekend? You come home, you pop that bottle. He said you sprayed them legs. So Louis took it from here to here. He took it to another level. I don't know if that's what's working with Tiffany, because she's apparently not spreading them because you got the sexual frustration, Louis, but we're going to get to that. So anyway, I'm just saying. So anyway, everybody was getting all hot and steamy after Louis, and so they said they got to work on those commercials, and they like them commercials after dark. So anyway, the girl that was with the blonde hair, she's wearing all the weird pink dress. She had cute earrings on, one of her earrings. And so she was saying that, it's a good wine. And, it's perfect for if you like the dry. Something else she said, he need to put pink on the bottle. She feeling it, whatever. Okay, so then I guess the ladies left, or they was going to meet them at the club or whatever. So then the men are all standing around, hanging out around the kitchen. You see Maurice tearing up a rib or something. He was tearing up some food at that counter. I said, Maurice, you was hungry. So then Martel's like, y'all want to go to strip club? And they're like, all right, man, we hit the strip club. And Martel said something about, oh, yeah, Louis, he good. He got Tiffany, he good. And so then they're like, what that mean? So then Martel's like, well, yeah, because they... he open, they open. And so then Marcel was like, open? And I open to what? And so then he was like, and then Louis was sitting back there grinning like he ain't never co-signing or saying, oh, we do this and we do that. So then they flash back that scene a few weeks ago where Martel met up with Louis and Tiffany, and so they're all talking at the wine bar and laughing and playing, and so Tiffany is like insinuating like they might be open to other people or something, and then Louis was like, oh no, Martel's not into things we're into. So it's kind of like making it seem like, are they in an open relationship or what they doing? And so then Marcel, his confession was like, he want to know what is Louis, like, who are Louis and Tiffany open to. Marcel's being so shady in this moment. He was like, who are they open to? And he was like, how did he convince Tiffany to do this? And he was like, I might take some advice from him on this because I need to know, like, how does it work with Louis and Tiffany and this open thing. So anyway, everybody said they're going to be good. They're going to the strip club. Okay, so then fast forward, we get down to the strip club, right? They showing Louis sitting there just staring, smoking a cigar, drinking. Marcel said in confessional that based on Louis's behavior at the strip club, that open thing might have been more so Tiffany's idea than Louis's idea. I don't know. We only saw what we saw. The strip club they were at was at KOD Atlanta, because I was wondering what strip club it was, and they did show it at the end. I remember I went to KOD Miami, but I didn't get to experience it because whatever event we're supposed to do that day for my birthday weekend, we didn't get to do. But that's neither here or there. Hopefully I get my KOD experience one of these days, right? So anyway, then we saw Martell, he danced with a girl talking about, is this going to be mine tonight? She like, I don't think you can handle it. I'm like, oh, Martell. He talking about that's going to be baby number 6. I was like, oh, no, Martell. Martell, you need to stop. Right there, you need to stop. And so then we see all the guys having a good time. Then in the confession, we see Maurice say, oh, yeah, strip club really not my thing. They flash back to him in the club, having a good time with his drink and his smoke. He getting it on. And then he just laughed, okay? Then later on, we see Marcel saying, oh, yeah, strip club really not my thing. And then, we show him in the strip club like Scott Brothers. Y'all ain't got the lot of kick it. The strip club is y'all thing. Let's stop. So, anywho, the boys have a good time down at the strip club. They take a picture. Maurice makes a joke that's going to be on his phone. Oh, backing up, speaking of a picture, I knew I missed the part. Back to the house before the boys left for this little nasty little trip they on to the strip club. They were talking about the picture. Oh, we have Marcel, you're going to be on your best behavior. You're not going to get another picture of your back. And then Marcel's like, I already told you that, that wasn't me. But he looked down when he said it, like with a smirk or something, and then Maurice made a face that looked like, you lying. I was like, what is y'all doing? Why is y'all playing on this TV? They really play on this show. Based on what's social media, they really play into our emotions about it. Like, at first I was like, oh, you can see Marcel must have been like, look at Maurice's face. Then I thought about later, they are playing with us. They wanted us to have these reactions. So they use everything social media to continue to play with our feelings. And like, at this point, I'm kind of sick of it, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Like, it's still a good show, but I wish we could just separate the social media stuff from what's actually happening for real on the show. So anyway, so then they leave the strip club. Okay, so back at home in Huntsville, this is a scene I could have really did without. We see Tisha and Kimmy meet up at Black. Well, Kimmy came down to Black because Tisha was already at work and then behind the bar fussing with Jalen. So anywho, and then they sit down talking about the boys' trip to Atlanta, and they like, why they had to go to Atlanta? They could have sold it right here in Huntsville. They could have did it here. Martell don't even drink wine. How he selling wine? He gonna do a cookbook. He don't even cook. How he gonna do that? And I bet you they going to the strip club. We should pop up on them. We should do that. And then I was just like, I don't need to see these old 2 women sit here bitter because these men is on this trip and they didn't get to go and they got to wonder what they doing and it's reliving this horrible issue with this first picture from this first Atlanta trip. If I was them, see, I'm petty, y'all. I'm real petty. This is why I'm probably not going to be successful in relationships, and I'm not. Because, see, I'm tit for tat. Oh, you think you finna go have you a trip in Atlanta? You think you finna be at the strip club? Or you think I'm about to sit at home and cry with my girlfriends about it? No. If I was him, I'll recreate Mel's little pajama party and go on a party bus and go on the strip club, invite a stripper over. I would do something, but I would not be sitting around talking about them and feeling like, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. We need to pop up on them. No. We gonna get even with them. We gonna have just as much fun or more fun. We gonna make our own little picture go in the blog and go viral. Like, no, time out for that. Kimmy and Tisha, y'all should have called me. Girl, we could have went on our own girls trip to Atlanta. We would have went and found a male strip club. We could have made it popping, okay? Where Bolo at? Somebody put that on Twitter, like they need to get Bolo. Yes, they got their own party. We don't, we ain't gonna sit at home and feel sorry for ourselves. Anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. That's what I would have done in the situation. So anywho, so So you see them heifers crying down to the bar. So then, moving on back to Atlanta, the boys wake up the next morning. Maurice about hungover. He needs some food in his system. Louis said he had a good time. They was talking about who looking over their shoulder. Then they said something about Melnica. And then Marcel was making jokes about Martell like Melnica's mail must be his love language. And maybe he'll get it right this time with this mail and all this stuff. So anyway, then we see the boys are sitting there at the table talking, still making jokes about different things. And so Marcel was really looking at Maurice's eyes, see if he drunk. I'll be doing that to my sister too, like, you drunk, like doing all that to her. So anyway, then they were talking about, like, you know, they glad to see Martell really get his life together, and he's like becoming a new Martell. And they're like, well, how are things with Mel? And you know, do you see yourself, you know, moving in any good direction with that? And he's like, of course I want my family and stuff back, but he's like, you know, Mel, she's cold-hearted, she's cold, and she's this and that, so this just not gonna happen. And I was like, wait, what? You can't get things going? And Marcel asked a good, valid question. Do you feel like there's anything you can do to get more of what you want? Like, you know, working out custody with the kids and things like that. That's what I'm assuming Marcel's talking about. And Martell gonna sit up there and say, oh, well, Mel is cold-hearted and she's bitter, so it's just not gonna happen. Like, that is not the issue, Martell. The issue is y'all's communication. And the reason why Mel is this way is because you made her that way because what you put her through. Like, no. I'm going to need Martell to take some accountability. And so then Marcel was like, well, do you think that you could take some more accountability? And then Martell's like, no, man, no, be quiet, shut up, because I done took accountability. I done did this and that. I done did that and that. So, no, I'm good. No, we don't even need to go there. And he got all defensive. And Marcel said in his confessional that he thinks that Martell doesn't want to take any accountability because he feels like wrong was done to him as well. So he wants Mel to take some accountability before he takes full accountability, because he feels like if he takes any bit of accountability, then he's going to be the full out guilty one without acknowledgement of what was done to him. Now, let's just start here, Martell, everybody. Nothing was done to you, Martell. Nothing was done to you. And I don't care what Mel did after the fact. Okay, you done cheated on this lady for how many years? 5 years or so? And you had a baby on her? No, nothing she could do could top that at this point. Nothing she can do, sir. So no, you need to take all the accountability. That just made me mad. So anyway, let's go back down to Huntsville before then we gonna come back to Atlanta. So anyway, no, let's finish up with Atlanta, then we go back down to Huntsville. So I'm just going a tad bit out of order. So I personally didn't like how they chopped the scenes anyway, how he was going back and forth from Atlanta to Huntsville, seeing what the ladies was doing, because they was at home doing nothing. So anywho, we could just stick with the boys down to Atlanta for the whole episode as far as I was concerned. So anyway, the boys decided to go to the rage room. They can take all their anger and frustration out. I would love to do a rage room. If you guys ever did one, or if you know one here in Northern Cali, let me know in the comments. I would love to do that. So they decide to go to the rage room, and you get all these different weapons like axes and bats, and you break up old televisions and typewriters and stuff like that. And so Louis was getting out his sexual frustrations. Marcel was getting out his frustration about Miss Wanda and the blogs, and Martell's getting out all his last bit of frustration and everything he's going through. Maurice was getting out his frustration about his son, Monster. So on the way back, they were talking about everything they were dealing with, and how Marcel was getting out his frustration about Miss Wanda, and then Louis is like, dang, man, is it that bad? He's like, yeah, man, it really is. Like, she doesn't have any boundaries. Martell's like, yeah, she doesn't even care to respect boundaries. And that's what it is. And so, you know, Marcel said he has to really deal with this situation before it fully destroys his family, and, you know, deal with it, you know, how it affects Tisha and all that. And so, Maurice said he wasn't dealing with so much frustration as he knows he needs to just come up with a solution, because Monster is not doing enough. He's not a self-starter. He has to wake him up. And so they're like, well, what all is he doing? He's like, he does football, he does track, he does 707 and something else. And then they're like, well, what's the problem? Like, he's doing all these activities. And he's like, well, he's not, I have to wake him up in the morning. I have to tell him to do this and that. I have to get him going. He's not a self-starter. They're like, he's only 14. Did they say he's 14 or 15? Either way, Maurice, like, kind of relax. Like, you got to kind of groom him to do that. You got to train your kids to do that kind of stuff. I was trained at a very, I don't know, I kind of was naturally that too. And Martell made a good point. Some people are, born that way. You can't always teach people that. They got to want it for themselves. Like, if you got to be somewhere in the morning, you got to want to get up and get there for yourself. So he's still a kid. Like they say, I agree with all the men's advice. He's still a kid. Like, let up. He's only 15. Like Marceau said, relax. And Maurice is kind of comparing himself to Marster to himself, saying like, man, when we were 50, we did that. And Martell's like, you can't expect him to be like you. And Martell gave really good father advice and man-to-man and father-to-father advice. I felt like in that scene, like he let him know, like, you can't expect him to be can't expect him to be like you. Can't expect him to be that way. You gotta know that some people are just bored with that. He's just got to train his son, to be like, okay, you got to be apprentice at this time, set your alarm. You got to be at school at this time, set your alarm. Like, if he's not naturally that kind of person, then that's what he has to do. Like, some people, maybe the parents or whoever had to buy an alarm for them and get them going. I was one of those people, like, I was fine with getting myself up in the morning. I had no problem with that, but I seen other people, friends and siblings, stuff that they needed that extra boost. So it just really depends on who you are and what your motivation is and all that. But I do believe that Maurice needs to ease up on him. It's not like he's 18 or 19. He's only 15. He will learn all that. He's just barely getting into, all these extracurriculars and having all these extra responsibilities. I think he needs to give him some more time and just train him. He needs to train him and not expect him to be such a get up and go guy. Like, I think Maurice is expecting a little bit too much from his son. So anyway, then they're talking about Louis's sexual frustrations. And so he was saying, yeah, we both been pretty busy, me and Tiffany, and things ain't going the way they're supposed to go in the bedroom, and you're not feeling fully satisfied. And he's like, it's not a big deal right now. It's just a little bit of frustration. And so Maurice said, is it worth you guys slowing down on work right now? Louis said no. Then they're like, okay, well, there you go. And Marcel said, and then Martel's like, I'm worried about Louis and Tiffany because they're going down a slippery slope. Because if this is a problem already in year 2, they could be headed for divorce if they don't get it under control. And so Marcel said, if it's a frustration in year 2, it becomes a problem in year 4. It's going to become a bigger problem in year 5, year 6, and all down the line. It's just very, very interesting that Maurice and Martell are having to give Louis advice, because Louis and Tiffany came on like they were the marriage experts after 1 year last year, but all of a sudden they need all the advice in the world in this episode. Okay, so speaking of Louis and Tiffany, we see Tiffany back down in Huntsville doing nothing with Mel because they were obligated to film this stupid scene in this store, in this boutique. So Mel and Tiffany are in the boutique shopping. Tiffany comes up and Mel's like, man, I seen this is really like some kind of sexy outfit. She's like, I seen this is really cute for you. Like, don't you want to try it on? I feel like Mel's seen all our comments on Twitter about the way Tiffany dressed and she played on them. But that's just what I think, because Tiffany came in there looking so matronly. Like, girl, what is you wearing? Like, no. And then the glasses and then the outfit. She was looking like she was Mel's aunt. And I'm like, girl, show what you got. I'm not saying you got to let all your good stuff hang out, but there's a way to do it. Like, we don't even... Tiffany, girl, get styled and made over or something, child. So she was like, no, I couldn't wear that. And then she picked up some outfit and was like, oh, no, girl, that would be for you, Mel. That wouldn't be for me. I couldn't wear that. And Mel's like, you don't think you wear that? She's like, ugh. So, like, Mel even had a reaction like, girl, like, you need to get together. And she's like, Louis will like you and that, and da-da-da-da-da. And then she was like, nah, girl, I couldn't do it. Like, girl, you need to do something, Tiffany. You need to do something. Sorry, y'all, I'm so thirsty in this video. So, anyway. Then Tiffany was thanking Mel for going with her to Utah, Alabama, down the street to go find her family that she didn't really find. So she said she's going to go back, and now that, the door's been open, and she thanks Mel for letting Tiffany just be there, and Mel asked the questions and do the work and all this stuff. That wasn't really the episode we saw, but okay. So she's like, I feel like Louis wouldn't have done that. And Mel was like, you don't think Louis wouldn't have done that? Like, you should have gave him a chance. And she was like, no, because, Louis is not motivated that way. He's more of like the quiet one, and I'm the storm, and he's not a self-starter. I have to get him going, and he's not this, and I do that. And I'm like, girl, oh my God, Tiffany, you are doing the most. And so she was making Louis sound like he's just a bump on the log and he don't do nothing. So then she was saying how, like, Louis complains about, them not being able to spend enough time together. Somehow they were talking about Louis and Tiffany's situation, and Melanie asked what is, do they ever talk about their love languages? And Mel said hers is physical touch, and Tiffany was like, yeah, mine is quality time. But the ironic thing is, Louis feels like I'll spend enough time with him, and Tiffany feels like, well, most men should be happy to be getting, the blowjob, whatever, and this and that and that. And so they showed a scene where, like a flashback of Louis and Tiffany talking about it, and so Tiffany's like, well, most men, I could survey most men, and I would ask them if they would like to. Basically, what Tiffany feels like she's doing that's good enough right now, and Louis is like, no, you need to make sure like me and you are good. Like, we're not talking about most men. So like Tiffany is just not getting it. So for Tiffany, she feels like Louis just wants way more sex than what she's already putting out. Like, he's just wanting way too much sex. And Louis feels like Tiffany's not giving him enough. Okay, so she feels like Louis doesn't appreciate the strong woman that she is. And then Mel was like, well, how do you know? Did you ask him? And then she was like, no. And then something Tiffany said, and Mel was like, well, it sounds like you kind of, someone's projecting. Like, what's really going on here? And so she was like, well, the boys are down in Atlanta on the Atlanta trip, and Louis is there, and if he feels like he's not getting, satisfied enough at home, like, what if he's gonna go try to find it somewhere else out there? And Mel's like, no, we're not even gonna say that. We're not gonna even put that in the atmosphere. We're not gonna even do that, girl. Like, just get rid of that thought. And I'm like, dang, Tiffany, is it that bad you're thinking that Louis might cheat on you down in Atlanta, girl? I mean, he is with the other cheating crew, but still, like, girl, hopefully not. Like, nah. Look, Tiffany, nah. Girl, nah. So, I don't want Tiffany sitting up there thinking Louis about to cheat on her. And hopefully he didn't or doesn't. But, I do feel like Tiffany and Louis, somewhere there's a disconnect. And they need to come to some kind of common ground. They need to figure it out. Again, it's funny that Tiffany needs all this marriage advice when her and Louis had it together so tough last year after their year of marriage. Anyway, that was pretty much all the episode was giving. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see y'all on the next video. We're going to do some Love and Marriage DC and some P-Valley. All right. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.